So the way that this program will work today is that I will go through a little bit of what's required in the application itself so that you're aware and able to really present yourself with the strongest application possible. And then I'm going to pass it along to my colleagues over with the MEAM program, and they're going to go through some of the ins and outs of the program. And at the very end, we'll be doing a Q&A. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to begin putting those questions in the Q&A portion of your Zoom bar. It should be at the bottom of your screen. There will be folks on the back end answering some of your questions live. So if you want to ask questions as they come up, please feel free to do so. You don't need to wait until the very end. Also, you may have noticed, but this webinar is being recorded. So no worries about taking notes or feeling like you're forgetting something. We will be posting this on our YouTube channel in the next couple of days. So you will have plenty of time to come back to revisit this webinar as many times as you may need. And while you're on our YouTube channel, I do suggest checking out some of our other videos if you're maybe interested in other programs or other opportunities at Penn Engineering. There are a plethora of different videos to check out as you need. And then, as I said, we'll be answering some questions live at the very end. So I encourage you to continue thinking about your questions as the session goes on. So a couple of just where to begin of why you might be interested in studying at Penn. It is the first university in the United States, so it's a very old institution. It was founded in 1740 by Ben Franklin, and then Penn Engineering as a school was founded about 100 years after that. So it's definitely an old institution, but there's a lot of innovation that does happen here. There are 12 graduate schools across the university, so Penn Engineering is really just one of those 12 schools. There are many graduate students that attend programs here. We have many different types of programs throughout these 12 graduate schools. And we are a really large institution, so Penn at any given time has about 26,000 students enrolled, and the majority of those students are actually graduate students. Geographically, Penn is a really large school located in Philadelphia. We have over 300 acres of campus space. Some of that is within our main campus in University City in Philadelphia, but we have some other hubs across the city and beyond the city that Penn has different offices and research centers located at. We have 14 different master's programs and 6 PhD programs. So we will go into, as I said, the MEAM program with a little bit more detail, but we do have information on all of our other programs as well on our website and on our YouTube page. Across Penn Engineering, we have over 19 research centers and institutes that are really at the forefront of research in so many different areas. Some of the more popular ones these days, as you might imagine, are artificial intelligence, engineering and healthcare, and robotics, just to name a couple. As a Penn student, you would have access to really wonderful resources across campus. So of course, the academic buildings and the opportunities that those allow, but of course, libraries as well, fitness centers, different affinity group centers, and career services support. So we really want to make sure that as a student, you are really supported academically, of course, but in all different facets as well. And then, of course, we are located in Philadelphia, which is a wonderful city that I will go into a little bit more detail because it is a big part of what makes Penn so wonderful and unique. So Philadelphia is the 6th largest city in the United States. It is similarly a very old city. It was the first, the birthplace of the nation. And it is really rich with history, culture, different art festivals in general, educational opportunities. So there's truly always something to do in the city of Philadelphia, no matter what you enjoy doing. It has a really affordable cost of living compared to other cities, especially East Coast cities nearby like New York and DC. So many people choose to continue their education here and then set down roots as it's a little bit more affordable to do so. It is located pretty close to some of those really fun hubs. So we're only about 2 hours south of New York City and then about 2.5 hours north of Washington, D.C. So it's really easy to commute to different cities, different areas, explore the East Coast. And we also have, of course, a large international airport. So from Philly, you can get anywhere you might need to go. In the city, we do have accessible public transportation. So a lot of students that attend Penn tend to live really close to campus within walking or maybe biking distance. But there are a ton of really wonderful neighborhoods and areas that some students live in and that we always encourage students to really explore to see what Philadelphia has to offer. And then we do also have a wonderful park system in Philadelphia. So for anyone who's really interested in being outside, getting closer to nature, you're really able to do that in such a large city, which is awesome. So for anyone who's interested in hiking, mountain biking, riding horses, walking, just exploring, we've got a great opportunity for you to do that as well. And then more recently, in the past decade or so, I would say Philadelphia has turned into a really big hub for life sciences, tech, manufacturing, and science centers in general, especially right around Penn's campus. And as I said, here are our various master's programs. I will say just really quickly, you'll see an asterisk next to two of those programs. We do offer an online version of those programs, which we will not be going into in detail in this webinar. But if that's something that you're interested in, I encourage you to check out those opportunities as well. And as a Penn student, we really encourage you to build a community, not just at Penn Engineering, but beyond. So there's a lot of opportunities to do that across such a large institution, and a ton of different resources and ways to network with others. So we have a graduate student engineering group for anyone who is within Penn Engineering that allows you to really not only collaborate with students in your program, but also the many other programs across Penn Engineering. So it's a wonderful resource. There's also a Dean's Doctoral Advisory Board for our doctoral students. We have a wonderful Cora Ingram Center that really makes sure that students' time here is enriched with culture and different opportunities. And then, of course, we have a wonderful graduate staff in general, not just within your program of choice, but as the administrative staff as well, that offer really regular office hours. So if you have any needs or need additional support, you can always reach out to them for any additional support that you might need. And then on the bottom of the screen, you'll see some opportunities that are outside of just Penn Engineering and for Penn graduate students as a whole. So I always really like to say that your time in any graduate program at Penn is going to go by faster than you think it will. And it's really important to take advantage of as many opportunities as you can. It's almost impossible at such a large school. But I really love when our Penn Engineering students are able to collaborate with other students across the university. So a couple of opportunities for that our GAPSA, which is the Graduate and Professional Student Assembly. And that really ensures that the voices of our graduate students are heard. Any concerns for graduate students are being pushed to leadership. And it really focuses on making sure that graduate students' needs are being met, both academically, but also they host a lot of different fun activities as well, concert series, things like that. We have a Graduate Student Center, which is a hub for graduate students. You can't even get into this building unless your Penn ID says that you are a Penn or a graduate student, not just at Penn, but across the university. And this is a group that really wants to make sure that, again, some of the unique needs of grad students are being met. So whether it's writing a dissertation, citing your sources in terms of paper writing, whether it's you need additional family support because maybe you came to Penn with a family. They offer all types of resources for students with really kind of unique needs of graduate students. So it's a really wonderful place. And then for anyone who is an international student, we have an International Student and Scholars Services Office. We call it ISSS because that's quite a mouthful. And this office is really here to support our international students. As an international student, you are given an advisor when you enroll, and that person is really there to answer any questions you might have about visa questions, OPT, social security numbers, truly anything that you might need. And they really help you throughout your entire time at Penn. They also host a lot of wonderful events, welcome events, and events throughout the semester to make sure that all of our students, and especially our international students, are feeling very welcome. And now I want to talk a little bit about application requirements. So as you may or may not have seen, if some of you have started an application or you're thinking about starting an application, I just want to go through what is required. So the first step is an online application. Everything that we do in our office at this time is online, an online application. We communicate with you via email. There's nothing that's going to go out through the mail. So the first step is the online application. Within that is a resume, a personal statement, letters of recommendation, transcripts, English proficiency scores, which I'll talk about, and a $90 application fee. We also accept GRE scores if you want to send them. They are not required, and I'll talk a little bit about that as well. So really quickly, I want to go through some of the major hubs where we get a lot of questions. One is the personal statement. So the main thing I want to emphasize here that in 2 pages or less, we ask that you answer all of these prompts listed. So it's not asking you to answer a couple of them or 1 or 2. We really want you to respond to all of those prompts. We ask them for really specific reasons, and the programs want to know the answers to these questions. We ask that you use your best judgment when it comes to font size, how much you are spacing your lines. If it's not readable for you, it will probably not be for admissions and for the program. So just be mindful. Generally, a 11 or 12 size font is going to be best. And transcripts are another question that we get a lot of. So you do have to include all unofficial transcripts from any schools that you've attended. They can be unofficial. You do not need your official transcripts for the application review process. The transcripts really must include all the courses that you've taken, the grades you've received. I didn't list it on this slide, but it should also include your name and the school's name so that we can verify that it is you that is a student at that school. And for folks who might have an unofficial transcript that's not in English, they do need to be translated if that's the case. So you can use a transcript translation service. You can also have your transcript evaluated by a third-party evaluation service if you need to. But please be mindful that it does need to be in English. And then if you have studied outside of the US, your transcript should also include a grading key that outlines your school's grading scale. Otherwise, we might not know what your grades mean, which will be really important in the review process. And then official transcripts are only required if you are admitted and plan to matriculate. They're not required for the application process. Letters of recommendation are always sometimes tricky because they are the only part of your application that you have a little bit less control over, but they're really, really important. So you have room to submit 3 letters of recommendation, but only 2 of those are required. And we really strongly suggest that 1 letter is academic in nature and 1 is professional in nature. Of course, if you've been out of school for a number of years, you're more than welcome to use an additional professional letter of recommendation if that suits you. The main thing to be mindful of here is to be having these conversations with your potential recommenders as early as possible. So the deadline for our master's program is not for quite some time. So you do have time to be having these conversations with folks. But start that conversation early and make sure that they're willing to write you a positive letter of recommendation. We see a lot of maybe short or nondescript, lackluster letters of recommendation, and those won't necessarily support or strengthen your application. And we don't require that your letters be submitted to us on any type of professional letterhead, but anytime you're able to, that's always going to be the best practice. And as I mentioned, the GRE is not required for any of our programs, but you can submit it if you've taken it and you want to and you think it will strengthen your application. If you choose to do so, the scores do have to be sent to us officially directly through ETS. I've listed our score code here of 2888, and they need to be within the past 5 years in order to be valid. And it can be a really great option if maybe you've been out of school for a really long time and you want to show your quantitative or otherwise abilities, or maybe you received some lower grades in your undergrad and you want to supplement some of those grades. You can absolutely do that. But again, it's absolutely not required. And an area we get a lot of questions about are English proficiency scores and waivers for those scores. So applicants that are not U.S. citizens and whose first language is not English are required to submit English proficiency scores. And I've listed the 3 tests that we accept: TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo, and our suggested scores. So truly, it's our suggestion to go with whatever test works best for you, what is more accessible to you. We accept the at-home test version of all of these. So it's truly up to you and where you think you'll succeed the most. And then we offer waivers for a lot of students who meet the below criteria. But I want to emphasize that these waivers are processed manually, so they do not happen immediately. So you got to be patient with our office as we process your application. But your English proficiency requirement will be waived if you are going to graduate or have graduated from a program in the US, from a school in a country where English is the official language, or from a school where the medium of instruction is English, and that has to be listed on the transcript. And again, that waiver does not happen automatically. It does take usually at least 24 hours, if not longer. And as we finish up here with admission information, one important date I just want to highlight is February 1st. This is our master's application deadline. So what that means is your application must be submitted and complete by that deadline. So I'm really thinking about letters of recommendation. Again, you have a little bit less control over when those are submitted, but they must be submitted by this February 1st deadline in order to be reviewed for admission. So it's always my advice to not wait until the very last minute to submit your application, because you just never know when something, you might need a little bit of extra time on something. So February 1st is that deadline. I encourage you to submit earlier than that. And then all decisions will be released to you as applicants by April 1st, but so absolutely by early April. And if you have any additional questions specific to the application process, there's a little bit more information on our website as well. You can always email us. We encourage you to do so. If you have any additional questions that might come up after this session or because of this session, please feel free to reach out at any time. And now I'm going to pass this over to my colleagues with the MEAM program. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay.
Great. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. So I'm going to tell you about, I guess, 2 or 3 things. So one is about the department, mechanical engineering and the part mechanics department. And then talk about our master's program. And I guess last talk about I guess our students that the one graduated and the one current in the program, and give you some information about those three things. So first about the mechanical engineering department, or called the mechanical engineering and applied mechanics department. Okay, next slide, Byron. Yeah, so department chair is Professor Turner, and then we also have, I guess, at the graduate program that include both the master's and the PhD program. We have this entity called the graduate group, and the one professor in charge of this graduate group is Professor Rennie. Under the leadership of Professor Turner and Rennie, that the master program is directed by me, Howard Hu, and assisted by capable that Dr. Lee, and who is also in the webinar today. Please, next slide. And so the mechanical engineering department, we have 27 primary faculties. So that basically the faculty member directly in the department. And the entity I mentioned earlier, the graduate group, that is kind of enlarged group. We have some additional faculties. They are members of our graduate group. And they are coming from various, other departments in the engineering school, and some of them are even outside the engineering school across the other schools of the university. And currently that we have 192 master students, and most, I guess probably half. Some of them probably half is a first year student, and the rest are the second year. Some of them stay a little bit longer, and possibly doing the third year. Those are probably doing like a dual degree masters, combining mechanical engineering with other master programs in the engineering school. So, so that's basically a kind of a snapshot about the graduate group. That is the group or the faculty members in associated with our graduate program, both a master's and a PhD. So that consists of the main primary faculty, and the depending on the expertise of our faculty members, that we kind of catalyze the primary faculty into the different, I guess, or the areas of expertise. And some of them are in design and manufacturing, and I have the list of the names of the professor that kind of under that group. And the second group is in the heat transfer, fluid mechanics, and energy area. And also we have the group in the mechanics of the materials. And normally, I guess in the past, we call the solid mechanics group. Then also we have a mechatronic and robotic system group. And so you can see that quite a good number of faculty associated with that group. The last, we also have this micro nano systems group, and a lot of faculty's research kind of focused or related to that group. So outside is five primary groups that we also have the faculty members that across the university, I would say that or in the other engineering programs, and they are members of our graduate group, and they can, or their research is kind of related to mechanical engineering, and they can actually advising or assist our graduate students in a way. So you can see that they are coming from the other engineering programs and other engineering schools. Other schools that, for example, in the earth and environmental science, that they are in the School of Arts and Sciences. And then we also faculty in the medical school, for example, that doing orthopedic surgery. And in the arts and science, we also have the physics department and School of Medicine, even that in the Wharton School, the business school that on the Penn campus. So we have the members, all members of the graduate group across the university. Next. So now let me just tell you about more detail, give you some more detailed information about our master's program. And in our master program, that the students are actually required to pick or choose a particular concentration, okay, within the program, and those concentrations can directly relate to the expertise in our, primary faculty. I mentioned that we have an area in the design and manufacturing, and in the area of or in the concentration of the heat transfer, fluid mechanics, and energy and the mechanics and material, then also in the mechatronic and robotic systems. In addition to that, we also have the micro nano systems. So in sense, what happens is the students in our master program, we declare a concentration, one of those five concentrations, then you can select your courses accordingly, since different concentration require different core courses to fulfill the requirements. So that you can have, I guess that each concentration will have a more kind of a detailed description of what those concentrations are about. And so in the sense that you will see that those concentrations relate to the courses and also relate to the research and certainly relate to the faculty members, I guess, belonging to those concentrations. If you pursue a kind of a more research-oriented track, you can actually do independent study, and I'll mention a little bit later, and all master thesis with a faculty member associated with those different concentrations. Next, let's take a look at the requirements for the master's program or master's degree, okay, in mechanical engineering. So, in short, basically, you need to take 10 courses. And here, the Penn, we count these 10 courses as basically what's called the course units, what we call the CUs. And one course basically is equal to one credit units. So out of these 10 required CUs, and two of them have to be in the engineering mathematics. And we have a kind of a long list of what those mathematics courses could be. And some of them offered in the engineering school, and some could be taken also, outside the engineering school, but mostly that within the engineering school. And some of those are within some certain departments in the engineering school. For example, some of the mechanical engineering classes, they have, very good, enough content in the mathematics. They could, qualify to, as an engineering math course. Some of the courses, for example, in computer science, in the area of the machine learning, they have enough math content, and that also qualify as engineering math. Then depending on that which concentration you declare or you want to pursue, you have these three core concentration courses. So out of the three, one is kind of required. So each concentration core, you will have one required course. Then you have additional two selected from a core list. Okay, so some of those core lists could be quite long. You may have, 10 courses, and basically you have to pick two out of those 10. Okay, in addition to those three, and you can take additional two other main courses. Those two other main courses could be from the core list or could be from other mechanical engineering courses offered by other concentrations, but normally they carry a main core as a main course. So that accounts for a total of seven courses. So in addition to those seven courses, you have three, I guess, what are called general electives. And we have a good, for each concentration, we had a good list of what those the general electives could be. But in general, that those general electives could be any engineering courses that are offered by engineering school. So you need to discuss with, your career objectives or career goal with your faculty advisor, and then who or she could advise you to what kind of course you can take. And but overall, that any graduate level courses offered by the university, if it fits your need and if you really like to pursue, as your career goal, pursue in those different areas, you can take course as those general electives. Okay, so those complete basically 10 course units and to fulfill the master's requirement. Then in addition to that, we have a two what's called a seminar requirement. Basically, you need to take 2 semesters of seminars. We offered, in the mechanical engineering department, and I have a slides tell you about what those the seminar courses, again, seminars are. Uh, so those are the 10 plus 10 CUs plus 2 seminars, okay? And we also take some transfer credits. And the students, if they can, they started their graduate program, for example, from other university, and if they want to transfer to Penn or can finish their study at Penn, you can are allowed to take basically all accept 2 graduate level courses taken from other universities and transfer them into Penn and use to fulfill this 10 CU requirement in our master's program. So out of these 10 courses, you have different pathways to finish the requirement, right? And here I kind of listed the 3 examples, how to spread out those 10 courses, basically. So first one is you have this 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 1 kind of a setup. So in sense, what happens in the first 3 semesters, you take the regular course load that is kind of defined by the U.S. immigration that in order to be a full-time student, you have to take at least 3 courses per semester to be legally in U.S. on a student visa. So those 3 basically in the first 3 semesters. Then the last semester, you only need the remaining 1 CUs to complete the degree requirement, right? And for international student, you can apply for what's called a reduced course load to basically finish up the requirement with just 1 CU. And this pathway is good for especially for international students, since that the last semester you may be quite busy and looking for a job and do something that outside the classroom, right? In the sense that by reducing the course load, that gave you enough time to work out the details. The second example is you have this 3 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2. And in sense, the last 2 semesters, you can take this, what do we call the career development course in place of this the seminar course in mechanical engineering. And this career development course is the EAS 8960. It counts as 1 CU full course load. So you can use that to make up the 2 regular courses that counts for, the 3 CUs for the full-time student. And then you come back for, the last semester taking 2 regular classes. Certainly, if you take less than 3 full-time CUs, that you have to apply for the reduced course load. And the third example is especially for international students, if you're looking for, after you finish the degree, looking for a job working in US, and normally what we kind of recommend you to do is at the end of the first year, okay, during the summer, you may start an internship in, for example, US company, right? And if that internship works well, and you may want to continue that internship into the fall semester, and uses what's called the academic field study option. And so you can basically work legally in a company and while on a student visa. So what's required for that, third example is you take, basically 6 courses for the first year, 3 plus 3, and do the third semester as you basically taking this academic field study option, then come back in the last semester to finish all the requirement and graduate. And hopefully that, after this academic field study, the internship, you will have like a follow-up offer from the companies, in sense by the time you graduate about the end of 4th year, you can basically work in the company afterwards. So that is a kind of a three examples that how you can spread out your workload and basically finish up all the requirement by the end of the second year. And I mentioned earlier, there is what we call the mechanical engineering seminar requirements. Okay, so the objective of that is we try to expose our graduate students to what's going on in the area of mechanical engineering, right? So what happens is that every week, department we invite a speaker. Some of them, most of them are actually outside the outside the University of Pennsylvania. Basically, they are leading researchers in the U.S. or sometimes that international that leading researchers in mechanical engineering and invite them on campus and telling us and what they are doing and what's their research. And so we try to expose our students basically cutting edge research in mechanical engineering. So each week we invite a speaker, and the seminar requirement basically will require our master student to finish 2 semesters of the seminars. And what this seminar basically means that you need to take 70% of the seminars offered during a particular semester. And so that basically you can for example, if we have 13 seminars, for a semester, then you need to take like 10 seminars and fulfill the requirement. And out of the 10, that you may, you are actually required to write a short summary report, submit online for 3 of those like 10 seminars you take. And this seminar course is new cost basically is does not count as a regular course load and does not charge tuition, so it's just a free course. And we do have like a sign up sheet before you get into seminar. We ask you to sign your name and showing that you actually participated or attended this particular seminar for that particular week. Okay, and for me, the plan I mentioned earlier, that is like a one track. You basically taking classes to fulfill the 10 CU 10 courses required by the master degree, right? But if a student really interested in doing research in mechanical engineering, you have this option here, a list here that you can either do what we call the independent study or do a master thesis. Okay, so independent study is what we call the MEAM 5990, and that is a course that you can register or sign up after you basically discussed with a faculty in the mechanical engineering department and in sense that express your interest in the work or the faculty's particular research expertise and try or that come up with that faculty advisor or advisor for for this the independent study and work out a plan in sense what you want to do or you want to learn in that particular semester for this independent study. Okay, so you come up with a proposal, and then the faculty have to work with you to come up with what we call a proposal for the independent study. And so basically you can agree upon that what you want to cover for that independent study for that particular semester, right? And hopefully that you will get some experience working with the faculty, doing some research and doing some work that is not, I guess, currently offered in a regular class. If you want to, go a little bit deeper in further, okay, in research, okay, you can either continue in independent study and expanding that, okay, into a master thesis, or if you really know what you want to do, you can start from the beginning to jump right in to this master's thesis, okay. So master thesis is again the same kind of process. You basically identify faculty and you basically want to pursue academic research, right? And after discussing with the faculty and work out a plan to basically what you want to do for thesis and come up with a proposal. And normally this is a multi-semester kind of effort, right? You basically want to develop something new or explore something new. Nobody did that before, and come up with a plan. And again, that there are some that the details you have to work out. That basically that in the master thesis proposal, what you want to do and how you want to do it. And also, we assign a committee that normally consists of your advisor and maybe another professor in the mechanical engineering department who will guide you and monitor and eventually that see you that your master thesis pass through the thesis defense and finish up basically all the requirement. So in sense that this, the independent study and master thesis, these two are a kind of a really a good track for students intended to do research, and especially for those students after they finish their master's requirement, if they want to continue to go on a PhD program, right? And that is a kind of a recommended pathway that how you can gather or get some research experience, and eventually allows you to do a PhD either at Penn or go to another university and working on the PhD thesis. Next, okay, and so here is kind of a snapshot of what our graduates are doing, and so this is I guess one slide showing not necessarily mechanical engineering student. This is actually for the graduates. The graduated last year, and the percentage of students that graduate from the engineering school, okay, the total engineering school, and that in sense of what you're seeing here is about 65%, about two-thirds are already, they have job offers basically waiting them. This is the time I think a survey did at about the sometime in May, at basically right before they graduate. And so this is 65%. That means that those are the percentage of students with a job offer, okay, at that time. And then we have about the 17.5%. Basically, they are continuing their education, and I guess majority of those are, continue to go on a PhD program, and somewhere, whether at Penn or in other universities, in the U.S. So there's still, I guess the 15.8 is still looking for a job, and this percentage certainly changes from year to year, but I think last year, 24, is not really a good year. I remember that in the past, good times that, over 90% the student with the job offers and continue research. In sense, still looking for that number 15.8 is actually on the high side the last year. So next slide actually shows that for mechanical engineering, basically for the master students within a mechanical engineering degree, right? That in sense that is our graduate. And here's the list of the names of a company, basically where they are working, okay, by the time they graduate, or basically what are job offers come from, right? That basically is the list of the company names for the student they participated in the survey or responded in the survey. And we list both the name of the company and the position for the graduates that in that company, right? That you can see a lot of those are just engineers. So majority of those are in the engineering companies, and I guess with a very wide spectrum of companies. Some of them are big companies like Boeing and let's see, Tesla and Walmart and Westinghouse, Johnson Johnson. So they are kind of widespread, and some of those are relatively small companies, but it's just a whole spectrum of, in sense, this gave you kind of a snapshot that you know that where our students are going. Okay, and so to help you to find a job, and I think it's also, mentioned earlier that the Penn Career Service, that basically they are kind of a contact point between the companies, industries, with the university, or with the student. And I think the first place you probably go is, contact or get some information about the company information or which company are looking for example, that from the career service. And the career service also organizes, basically on-campus recruiting that from the company if they want to recruit our graduates, and some information are posted there. And also we have the recruiting events hosted by Penn Career Service, but so the Penn Engineering School also holds, I think, every semester on these recruiting events and what we call the career days. So those are the time, basically, normally a day, 1 day or 2 days that company set up a desk on campus, and you can send your resume and basically doing this on-site interview that's right there. So there are a lot of help and a lot of things that information we share with you, and you can basically that help you to get your that job offers, or that help you to find a job basically before or at the time of your graduation. So I can now open up for your questions, and you can post your questions either in chat or raise your hand. I guess that we can basically answer you directly. And I don't know how
We
but
uh Sorry, this is Byron speaking. We do
yeah.
have a couple of questions that in the Q&A that I think we can answer live, either yourself or myself. But I think this first one, I think you'd be good for answering. So this is about the research track. So the
Mhm.
question is, if a student decides to do research, does their advising professor or faculty advisor need to be the same as the professor with whom they choose to do the research?
Okay, yeah. Let me just point out. I think that's information I kind of did not mention that once you are admitted into our program and you basically promise to come on campus, you will be assigned a faculty advisor in the department, and who will basically help you to basically, mostly on the academic side of the, affairs. But if you are interested in the research, and I mentioned earlier, you may identify the faculty advisor with certain expertise in the area of your interest, right? And this faculty advisor does not necessary to be the same advisor or what we call the same academic advisor we mentioned earlier. So you can request a switch if if this faculty research advisor, I would say that that's not the same person of the faculty advisor, academic advisor. You can request the switch, and we're going to see that based on the workload of each faculty, and we basically try to make make everyone more comfortable. You can request a switch, but these two advisors, the academic advisor and the research advisor, are not necessarily to be the same person.
Um, and before we move to the second question, the next question, sorry, I'd like to also add to that and say most of our students actually start the research tracks after they arrive. So we uh, our faculty do not um, usually take on students to work on a thesis prior to starting the program. So, for example, if you are admitted to the program in fall 2026, you would not start pursuing the research tracks until at least your second semester. So you would take that first semester of being in the program to establish the relationships necessary with the faculty. Many of them want to see the work that you're doing in the Penn Engineering environment before they will commit to advising individual research projects.
Yeah, exactly. That let me just add that the selecting the faculty means student selecting a faculty advisor, research advisor, and whether that actually the faculty research advisor will actually take you as a student, right? This is a two-way street in the sense that the faculty research advisor want to see your capability before they agree or not agree working with you. So in the sense that there's a selection two ways. You have to identify faculty and talk to faculty and figure out what they are doing, what their research, and whether they have openings for you. In the sense that you have to basically come on campus and really discuss those details with your faculty, potential faculty research advisor, and work out the details there.
So the next question, which I think I'll answer live. However, I'll give you a little bit of a break. Is do the do the master's students pursuing the thesis get an RA or TA ship? And if yes, does this potentially waive the tuition and provide a stipend? So the short answer is, unfortunately, no. We do not offer RA or TA ships that are linked to research programs, nor do we waive tuition as part of doing the thesis. So as I was mentioning before, we accept everybody on the basis of a primarily course-based master's program. And once you are here, you may pursue one of the research tracks, which are considered part of the curriculum and so therefore function as courses. In terms of research assistantships and teaching assistantships, there are opportunities to support coursework here, as from grading to working with other students. And usually those opportunities are established once the student arrives. Sometimes there might be an opportunity during your first semester, but primarily those opportunities come up after you've established an academic record here at Penn. For in terms of research opportunities, our faculty absolutely love when students participate in their research in their labs, but that is again similar to what Dr. Hu was talking about before, is is something that's established once here. So very much like finding a job elsewhere on campus, students are welcome to apply to work with faculty in their research labs once they're here in the program. Okay, so, and the next question is sort of a mix of how does the department deal with applications? So the question is, does GPA matter for for the course-based style program, or is it more important if a student expresses interest in doing more research when they're here, or is it basically the same level of importance as we evaluate the applications?
Yeah, let me take this question. Not necessary in the sense of what happens is if you have a GPA score and the score is good, right? Certainly you want to include that in your application, okay? But if you had took a GPA test and you did poorly, and certainly you don't want to list them in the application. So it's kind of it's your call in the sense that certainly, and in some case, if there are some question, I guess that for example, you really had one particular semester or one particular area on your transcript it looks weak, and your GPA score somehow can compensate that, and basically that certainly that you can use your GPA score to guess that to back up right your capability. So it's your call in the sense that we do not require you to have a GPA score. And if you think your GPA score helped your application, please include them. And if you think that it's not necessary, then it's not necessary to be included.
Um, I also just want to add, well, for Dr. Hu, I'm not sure if you meant GRE versus GPA. I think
Oh, I mean
everybody,
GRE
well,
score, so certainly,
GRE is
for that,
optional,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah,
But
GRE score.
GPA,
Sorry.
GPA matters, but there is no distinction between whether you are interested in pursuing a course-based or research track. Again, we accept everyone primarily on the basis of the course-based program.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for me clarify that.
Just want to weigh in and say that we have time for probably one or two more questions. If anyone in attendance has any follow-up questions. Okay, if not, I just want to give a huge thank you to both Dr. Hu and Dr. Lee. Thank you so much for joining to talk through the logistics of the program and give prospective students just a little bit more insight on what the program offers and where applicants tend to go after the program. So thank you also to all attendees. If you have any additional questions for either the program or for admissions, you can reach out to admissions or the program directly. If you don't know where to begin, we always suggest reaching out to our graduate-admissions@cs.upenn.edu email. It's also on our website. We're a great starting point, and we can always pass you along to the program if we can't answer your questions. With that, I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you so much for attending.
Right.